This is another barbecue adventure. Can you barbecue this cut of meat?
Big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
This barbecue adventure is really special. Can you guess this cut of meat? Do you recognize it? This is called the hanger steak or butcher steak. In Dutch we call it longhaas of ongelet. It's actually a delicious steak. If you've never had it before, you can compare it between beef tenderloin and a skirt steak. It has the flavor of the skirt steak with a little bit of that texture. It's a little coarse, but at the same time it's tender like tenderloin. But if we take a closer look at this steak, we see that there's a lot of intramuscular fat. And that's because we slaughtered a beautiful bull for my neighbor and cut it there into pieces until we had all these beautiful cuts. And now having this beautiful hanger steak, I wonder, can I put it on the barbecue and cook it low and slow? Well, there's only one way to find out. Of course, I'm going to season it with a little bit of Pitmaster's Texas seasoning. Since it is like a steak, I want to treat it like a steak. I'm going to keep it a little bit of Texas style flavor. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. It's very easily seasoned up. And now the hanger steak is actually part of a mid-rib section. And that's where this piece of meat sits. Now this is already prepared. There's some silver skin running in between these cuts of beef. Hamilton Whalen, the butcher, did an excellent job. All right, now this is ready to go on the barbecue, but we still need to fire it up. So first I'm going to put in some bricks, creating a direct and indirect zone. In the direct zone I'm going to put some charcoal, place some of these coconut briquettes on top of them. Once it's lit, I'm going to add a piece of smoke wood, put the grill grates in. Now the hanger steak goes on. I'm going to close the lid. Open the top vent all the way, close the bottom vent to almost all the way closed. And then I'm going to let the Napoleon kettle grill come up to a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius, which is around 240 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll just keep on smoking. I just got the notification from my thermometer that we have a core temperature of 92 degrees Celsius. And that means that these need to come off. Look at that bark. Beautiful mahogany red color. This is truly a beautiful piece of meat. Since it's such a small piece of meat, I think we might have lost a lot of moisture. So you're pushing that piece of meat all the way up to temperatures of 92 degrees Celsius core temperature. And in that time that you're cooking, it's going to expel a lot of moisture. The cooking time was only 3.5 hours. And I didn't wrap it at all, which gave me a beautiful bark on the outside. It rendered the fat in the meat perfectly, so I'm expecting a juicy piece of beef on the inside. And normally what follows is a resting or holding period. And holding means you're going to keep it warm at a certain temperature and then you can serve it out whenever you want to. Resting means that you're going to give the meat time to basically restore and spread out the moisture throughout the meat and kind of relax again a little bit. In this case, we're only going to do resting, which means we're just going to let it do its own thing. However, normally I just rest it on the board or rest it in a cooler, but resting in a cooler with a small piece of meat like this makes no sense because then you would have to preheat the cooler since it's just a little bit of meat. So I came up with an idea that might work or might not work. The idea involves either a plastic bag or a vacuum machine, whichever you have. And then I'm going to put the meat in a vacuum bag. And this is just going to work in a plastic bag just as well. So do not worry if you don't have a vacuum machine. But I'm hoping the vacuum machine is just going to add a little bit of positive pressure to, let me show you what I have in mind. To get some extra flavor in, because I got some thyme that I'm going to add and some garlic. And I want to add a slice of butter because butter makes everything rich and creamy, including barbecue. So that's good to go. Let's vacuum this. Because of the vacuum that we're creating, we're actually getting a boil inside the bag. The butter is melting like crazy. You can't see it, everything is fogging up, but it's just going to, well, basically cook everything to the last bit, and then it's just going to vacuum instantly, and hopefully all the pores of the meat are standing up and open like that. And then when the vacuum hits, all that flavor goes inside the meat. There it is. The pitch. There we go. That butter's still going to melt and it's going to spread out the flavor, and we're going to let it rest as it is. So this is still going to need about 20 minutes or so to rest and relax. And in that time, we're going to make something on the side to go with this. My guess is that the resting period is going to take about 20 to 30 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to make some bruschetta to go with this hanger steak. I got some ciabatta bread. I'm going to slice that into slices. This one is still warm. Nice chunky bits. In the meantime, I still have plenty to do because I'm going to chop up tomatoes. Now, bruschetta is going to require my tomatoes to be nice and fine because it's going to make it easier to bite into my bruschetta without everything falling off the bread. I'll slice this once, then into thin strips like that. And then I'm going to dice them up into easy to eat small chunks like that. Nice little cubes. I'm going to put that in a bowl. Now this is only one tomato, but you can do as many as you like, of course. To that tomato, I'm going to add a teaspoon of olive oil, a couple of drops of good quality vinegar, and a sprinkle of the Pitmaster X Texas seasoning. Not too much. Don't want it to be overpowered. Now, I'm going to need some basil for this, because basil is nice and fresh. And it's such a beautiful thing to go with tomato. Raw, fresh basil and raw, fresh tomato are the best friends. Just going to roll this package up. I got a couple of leaves here. And then I'm going to slice them fine one time across, and then this gets added to the tomatoes. I'm going to mix it up, perform a taste test, of course. Oh, super nice and fresh. Once I got the bread sliced up, I'm going to drizzle it with olive oil. Just a tiny bit of olive oil on each slice of ciabatta bread. And now I can toast it on my hot grill. It's preheated, ready to go. With the oil side down, I'm going to put it on the grill. Get it nice and crispy. This doesn't take long, so keep your eye on it. Once they're crispy, take them off the grill. And now comes the secret to tasty bruschetta. Take a clove of garlic and cut it up, and then rub it onto the bread. This is so much better than putting the garlic in with the tomatoes. So much better than pre-adding it to the bread. It's just going to make all the difference in your bruschetta. And all you need to do is then take a piece of that ciabatta bread, put that tomato on, tap it so it holds, and there we go. You made a delicious bruschetta. This is optional and not authentical, but of course you can put on some Parmesan cheese to add a little extra flavor to it. A little bit of that umami power. Now let's see where we stand with our experimental barbecue meat. Let's get some of that butter and garlic off. All right, let's slice into this and then see if we should have left it like a steak that we just found the ultimate new cut for barbecue. Here we go. Nice and juicy. We got a beautiful smoke ring. We got bark. It almost looks like a miniature brisket. The cooking time was really fast, so that is a big plus. But what does it taste like? Only one way to find out. Somewhere between brisket and chuck steak. Smoke them and you're gonna have the same flavor profile, but exactly like a brisket. However, I don't think that doing the vacuum stab added anything to it. I think wrapping it in aluminum foil would have been the better choice. I don't get much butter flavor other than on the outside, and there it doesn't add much value compared to what I was expecting, because really what I'm looking for is that barbecue flavor. What I now like to do is take my bruschetta and put this on top. This is what dreams are made of. Thank you guys for watching. You know where to find the recipes, you know where to find the seasoning. It's all linked down below. You can find it on our website, pitmasterx.com. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.